Does your pup have a tendency to get anxious or stressed? We feel your pain and we want to help. Here's how you can help your dog calm down. Welcome back to Alpha Paw, your destination for everything dog. I'm Bernie Zilio, and I'm on a mission to answer every doggone question you have ever had about your fur babies. And today we are talking about how we can calm our dogs. Fortunately, we have an expert with us today, Dr. Ross Bernstein. Dr. Ross is a seasoned veterinary professional and pet care expert. He earned his doctorate degree in veterinary medicine at UC Davis School of Veterinary Medicine, and his work has been featured in several industry-leading publications, including the Journal of Veterinary Surgery. He's our go-to vet for everything we want and need to know about our fur babies. So welcome back to Alpha Paw, Dr. Ross.
Hey, Bernie, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good.
That's a cool shirt.
Thank you. I'm super into the rainbow theme, so that's what we're going with. But thank you. I appreciate it.
Nice.
And we have a lot to discuss today. As we've talked about before, anxiety in dogs is extremely common. In fact, 1 in 4 dogs, which is shocking to me, has anxiety. So I wanted to ask you, Dr. Ross, what are some tendencies that pet parents should be looking out for to determine whether or not they have an anxious dog?
Just like you said, it's very common. And dogs, as you know, not like people, they can't speak and say like, hey, I'm anxious. So they show us in many different ways. Some dogs can be restless or panting. They can be pacing. Sometimes they hypersalivate or pant. Other times they lick and chew at their paws. So the anxiety-related behaviors can show up in many different ways. And you want to be very cognizant and aware of what your dog is doing so that you know if they're displaying these abnormal behaviors, you can try to help them or talk with your veterinarian about what are some things you can do to try to mitigate that.
Totally. It makes me so sad to think how anxious dogs must be, but I guess it makes sense given that all of us are anxious all the time, given like those circumstances of the world. So, I mean, how can you blame a dog for being anxious?
That too. Sorry to interrupt, but that too. A lot of dogs pull behaviors or mirror behaviors from their owners who they're with, and if their owner is very anxious at times or in certain situations, their dogs might reflect that, and they can become anxious as well. So that's also something to be aware of.
Absolutely. And we've definitely discussed that before. So if step 1 is take a look at yourself, what are you doing to cause anxiety to your dog? But then in terms of relieving anxiety in your pet, there's a million different ways, but I wanted to talk about a few specifically. Now, something that I personally use, I do have an anxious dog. He's scared of everything. He's hyperactive. I have found that the Alpha Paw calming chews are miracle workers, and he's a picky eater and he loves them. So in the Alpha Paw calming chew, there's chamomile, which is a mild soothing herb that reduces anxiety and stress, and pretty much goes the same for humans because I drink chamomile tea every time I'm stressed out. It's got valerian root, which is known for, it's a powerful anti-anxiety sort of like root. And I love that it's all natural. Same with kava root. It's actually used in veterinary medicine to relieve anxiety-based behavior. So all this stuff to me sounds wonderful. And then the last one is organic hemp powder. And that one to me, again, I did my research. CBD and hemp for dogs is a big topic right now. And I basically went off anecdotal evidence. Everybody that I have seen online say that they have an anxious dog or that their dog even like has seizures, different skin conditions, CBD has worked for their dog. And of course, being the pet parent that I am, I Googled like horrific stories with CBD in dogs, and I thankfully found like nothing. So that's me and my dog. It works for him, but it's not for everybody. I'm just saying the Alpha Paw calming chews definitely work for a mildly anxious dog. But Dr. Ross, I know that there's a million different ways of treating anxiety in dogs. So how do we feel about the Alpha Paw calming chews? And what if that's not enough for our dogs?
Anxiety is a huge issue, kind of like we've been talking about before. And if it gets to the point where you think you need to get your veterinarian involved, there's lots of prescription options out there for helping handle anxiety. But there's lots of good stuff out there that's over the counter and that you can try on your own first before talking with your veterinarian too. And Alpha Paw has tons of great products. And if you feel like that one's working great for Pod or some of Alpha Paw's other products, then I would say great, continue using it as long as you're not having any side effects or like diarrhea, vomiting, or the anxiety is getting worse, then I would say that's great. Continue using it.
Awesome. Love to hear that. Now, you did mention Alpha Paw does have great products. And obviously, I'm on an Alpha Paw show, but I'm telling you, I genuinely use these products all the time. The next one is the Alpha Paw Cozy Calming Bed. My dog is obsessed with this bed. It's basically like a donut shaped bed. And it's like fluffy, just like he is. And he puts himself into the tiniest ball and can spend all day there. So Dr. Ross, what is it about that donut shape that is so calming for dogs?
Yeah, it's weird. I have a couple of beds in my house too. And my dog, he is actually too big for that bed. But for whatever reason, he always just goes in the Alpha Paw bed, even though he's like squeezing out of it. So there have been some studies, especially led by Temple Grandin many years ago. She spoke about behaviors with animals and how we can help reduce anxiety. And anything that creates like some sort of comfort or almost a squeezing type of mechanism, I would say, like babies that are cuddled and swaddled, they can feel much more comfortable. And so I would say it's probably similar to that, where they can feel wrapped and tightly held. It's almost like a nurturing effect.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the same goes for us, to be honest. I feel better when I'm like swaddled in a blanket too. So that makes perfect sense. The other product, I'm so embarrassed to talk about this one because I'm obsessed with it and I shouldn't be, like, it's kind of weird, but it's the Calming Diffuser. Now, from my understanding, this Calming Diffuser is supposed to give off, like, it should mimic the pheromones of a mother dog. So why am I being calmed by this diffuser is what I want to know.
I have no idea why you're being calmed. Maybe you're part dog. I'm not sure.
That would make sense.
Maybe your anxiety is related to Pod's anxiety. I don't know. But diffusers and pheromones are, for people that don't know, I would compare them to like a hormone that people definitely can't smell dog pheromones because they would be species specific, but they have a special organ in their brain called the vomeronasal organ or Jacobson's organ. It's called different things in different texts, but it can detect these chemicals that can help stimulate or cause different behaviors. So if we've extracted the calming pheromone, let's just call it that, that can be found a lot from mothers when they're nursing and feeding their babies. And there's lots of other ones too. But with these pheromones in a diffuser too, you simply just plug it into the wall. It puts these pheromones out in the air and your dog can breathe them. You shouldn't be able to smell them at all. Shouldn't really do anything. At least maybe Bernie can. She has special powers.
Yeah, I definitely am part dog.
But yeah, if it works for your dog, that's great. And I wouldn't say it's the end all be all, but it's certainly worth a try if your dog is anxious.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the goal here is to know your dog and to do your own research. And I'm not talking research like down rabbit holes where you drive yourself crazy, just anecdotal evidence, especially when it comes to fairly new products or new remedies, things of that sort. I mean, the same way you would do for yourself. I think that's an excellent place to start. Talk to your vet. And I'm so excited because all of these products that I am genuinely obsessed with, if I could flip my camera, A, you'd see my messy room, and B, you'd see all of these products sprawled out. But we are giving you guys 20% off all of these products because we know that the anxiety is high and we want to make sure your pups are good. So go ahead and click on the link in the description box below to get your hands on that 20% off. Again, I'm Bernie Zilio, and this is Alpha Paw. Be sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single doggone episode, and we'll see you next time. Also, I forgot to thank Ross. Thank you, Ross.
Thank you, Bernie.